Thank you. And thank you, Megan. That was a lot of the stuff Megan's talking about. I've been tracking for a long time. About 5 or 6 years ago, we saw the same thing with double the performance on Microsoft as on Google, and so we decided to kind of focus on that as a company. And to give a bit of context, the Diginius, we support close to 1,000 agencies on the Microsoft channel and thousands of campaigns, and we built out a lot of automated best practice ways to solve a lot of the problems that Megan's talking about that you have to do kind of manually. And just to get a feel of context, does anybody here use Bing or Copilot or any of that? And is anybody here old and does not know how to change your browser? So we have proof. It's not only old people that don't know how to change their browser that use Bing. So yeah, we're talking about here, and we see this as kind of the next, the tech wars, the search wars. This kind of the last year, when we started working on this, when we talked to PPC professionals, it was always kind of like, yeah, we don't do that. I mean, why would you do that? That's just, that kind of market we don't care about. It's just these old people that don't know how to change their browsers. Why would we? And so when AI came out, there's been a huge shift in the perception of the market with Bing. But it is still fairly clunky and all that, but it is changing considerably. So there is a kind of a big resurgence. You've got these two Goliaths fighting, and it is very similar to kind of the Microsoft story. And pay attention to the Ewoks. I'll explain those at the end. I'm going to go through briefly some of the new things going on with Bing, how they're doing what they're doing, and talk about PMAX a bit and how that kind of is working and evolving, and we'll go from there. But just to kind of set the scenes on this kind of tech war that's going on. We've got Microsoft now consistently, quarter after quarter, growing their volumes, growing their market share, outpacing the growth of Google. And we've also got this kind of antitrust problem that Google has because of their monopoly on search. And it's changed from a talk of, oh, are they going to do something, to kind of what are they going to do? And if you read the newspaper this week, they're talking about, oh, they're going to make Google sell Chrome or divest their mobile network, or all these different solutions which will radically change how the search business works in coming years. And so this is a continuing saga, just like Star Wars. It's going to go on for years and years and years, and it's not going to go on like it has been for the last 10 years. It's a new era that we're moving into. With Microsoft, there's a lot new. They acquired Xandr a couple of years ago from AT&T for $1 billion or so. That gave them connected TV. It gave them the ability to do the deal with Netflix. You can now actually buy Netflix advertising in the Microsoft Ads portal, as well as connected TV. Like Meg was talking about, there's LinkedIn. There's LinkedIn Audiences. There's places like DuckDuckGo, which is one of the fastest growing search engines. Very secure, very high level of user, bankers, lawyers, and it's only available through Microsoft Advertising to advertise on. A lot of premium kind of properties, so it is a lot different than it has been. And there's new things coming. So there's Activision. They acquired Activision. If you want to advertise on video games, that is coming. It will be here soon. There'll be betas, there'll be different things to reach the millions and millions of gamers around the world. But the kind of one of the really big things is the AI approach and the tight integration between OpenAI and Microsoft in the different areas, the kind of GPT, Codex, and Dolly for images, code, and then kind of queries. I've been to a number of talks here, people talking about how Google's AI works and how Microsoft's, not really Microsoft's AI, but I think if you ask most people on the street, ChatGPT and Microsoft and the AI, there's quite a bit of difference between how it works and how people use it than Google's. And also in the search kind of industry, Google is not really incentivized to make their AI work really well for the user. Whereas Microsoft doesn't care, they've got nothing to lose. Whereas Google, if you make a search and it solves your problem with one query, that kind of hurts their business model of multiple searches in order to get to an answer. So there's a lot of different motivation in kind of the R&D that's going on. And search has evolved not that much over the last 20 years, really, until the last year or two, right? So it's kind of, there it was, and there it is, and it still looks about the same. Now it's different. When you're using chat, people are typing like your grandmother would. Your grandmother could go now and say, oh, I want to go on a holiday to south of France and take my dog. Where can I go? And it can give you back an answer that kind of makes sense. You know, these long queries that Megan's talking about. Much more conversational, which is why they're also starting to use voice quite a bit. And with the kind of the new being, the new way it works, there is a lot more reach. They're integrating it into all their products. So desktop, Microsoft 365, Copilot is kind of everywhere. The performance, this is exactly what we saw 5, 6, 7 years ago. It is double. We tell people you can expect, if you optimize it, 20 to 40% better results than on Google, just smaller market share. But 50% is quite achievable. So it does take work though. So yeah, you kind of got to work at it. And there's a lot of new innovations coming out. We get asked a lot of questions around when is there going to be advertising in Copilot, or when is there advertising in chat? It's not when, it's already there. These are examples. There's text ads in Copilot, there's mobile ads in Copilot, there's a lot of multimedia ad formats in Copilot, so products, hotels, different verticals, they are there. They're not always obvious, it's a bit discreet, but they are there. If you want to do that, you just put your ads in Microsoft Advertising and it will eventually appear in there. And the mobile app. So for years and years and years, Bing is only used on desktop, pretty much. I mean, it works really well. The performance works really well. They haven't had a lot of exposure on mobile, but now with the mobile app with Copilot, a lot of people are installing the app and searching on Copilot on the mobile phones. So you are starting to get some pretty interesting mobile traffic from the app users. Now, when the laws change, when the governments restrict and say, no, you can't have this deal with Apple and this deal with Samsung, and you get a bit more fragmentation in the mobile devices, that might peak more, but this is a source that we're seeing a good amount of traffic. And then the Edge browser. So it's integrated with Copilot. And one of the things, it's quite a deep integration that they're working on. So even when you're writing documents and you want to have it checked by Copilot, you can have it checked by Copilot. And it works with Microsoft Word. It is kind of quite deep into there. Now, Windows 11, this is a lot of active users, a lot of embedded, and people are really starting to talk and use the voice and converse and almost talk like a person. And if this works, show you like a chat that
Guess who's dog sitting? Which snack is he original?
Oh, he's totally into Christmas. You know, the one with the friendly eyes and that megawatt smile.
Nailed it. Obviously superhero material.
For sure. And his superpower, puppy dog eyes.
He's begging me for walkies. Where's good around here?
I've got just the thing. Check out these awesome dog parks nearby.
So it is kind of freaky in a lot of ways. These relationships that a lot of people are developing with the chat and the AI and the advertising is being embedded in all of this. It is kind of doubled in the last year, and the volumes are quite good, quite high. So that kind of co-pilot being integration in the Microsoft AI is interesting as it plays out. There have been over 10 billion chats and images created in Copilot since its launch, and it's growing very steadily. The people, the users that are using both voice and text has grown quite a lot, 27% in the last year. So that kind of trend is like steady. Right? And then if you look at the type of queries people make, it is very it's not just like, oh, I want to buy this. You know, it's very much, most of it's upper funnel. Varies a bit by topic, but a lot of people are really using this to go plot out their holidays, to look at where do you go, get ideas, go to a town, where do I find this? You know, it's changing the way people act and use, and we're only very early days of seeing how does the advertising going to work, how is the paid media going to work, but the activity is quite high, and the funnel intent is quite interesting for those that are advertising at the top of the funnel. Now, when we get to the Performance Max, it is a new product. Google's put out the Performance Max. Everybody's asking Microsoft when are they going to put out the Performance Max, and so they have done that. They've done it with their AI tools, so the same kind of AI tools that run ChatGPT and the Microsoft AI are how they're running the Performance Max and taking a lot of these different components and putting together, and how do you serve dynamic ads through their different content, through all the networks that are there. If you look at your how do you complement with your upper funnel, you can go into your audience campaigns, your search campaigns, shopping campaigns, and look at that, and some of it could be at the top, down the funnel, etc. So it behaves quite a bit differently than just a pure search campaign, but like any PMax campaign, Google's is fairly black box. Microsoft does have a little bit more transparency and control available to it. The big desire for users and agencies is to automate it, and so there is a lot of that, and there are a lot of different ways you can roll it out. So there's very easy ways. You say, hey, set it up and use it. Or if you want to get a little more set up and get it more granular, you can do that. And if you've got some pretty sophisticated campaigns, you can get quite sophisticated setups with it. If you look at if you're used to kind of the search first buyers, which are the high intent, then how do you roll out Performance Max to that? You can have a lot of different strategies to do that. We did post this on SlideShare, so this is a pretty heavy slide. I'm not going to go into reading all of it, but there are quite a bit of ways that you can do the reporting and budgeting and set bid strategies, negative website exclusions, negative keywords, to monitor and control how you run these ads on Microsoft. So, kind of the end of this, it is a new era, and there are a lot of things coming out. If you do want to explore this quite a bit, there are a lot of tools. In particular, we have a lot of tools. If you want to test PMax, you can come talk to us. We have ways we can support customers with things like a couple $1,000s in free ads or vouchers. We're kind of at the stand at the entrance. Come by and have a chat. And thank you for your time.